Please welcome the Honorable Minister.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellencies, the Governors of Lagos, Ekiti, Ogun State, Oyo, and the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, our dear service chiefs, my colleagues, the distinguished senators, I don't know if they came with us, senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and members of the House of Reps, my colleagues, the ministers of Sports, Works and Housing, Information, Minister of State, my sister and colleague in the Ministry of Transportation, Minister of State, my friend Dr. Mamora of Health, Minister of State for Niger Delta, I hope I'm not forgetting of my colleague, my dear lovely wife, who has accompanied me to this project, distinguished, I already greeted our chairman of committees before you see our budget. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, I lay claim to this project. It was my entire idea. I didn't sit with anybody. It was my idea. And I can tell you why. As a governor in the South, they were killing and maiming in the water every day. And I knew that it shouldn't continue. So the day you appointed me as Minister for Transportation in charge of maritime, I knew that I had to do something very important to find a solution to that. Yes, Mr. President, when we took over, we were number 3 in the world in maritime insecurity. Now we are number 1. But from the record we are having, we began to make progress, which means we still exist number 1. In fact, we moved from number 3 to now having what they call war premium, whatever. So all goods coming to Nigeria are charged as if they are coming to a war zone up to today. For any insurance, whatever it's called. So that's why I came up with this. And I'll go back to my speech, Mr. President. Why I try to speak extempore first is because, yes, Mr. President, if you recall, just because of this project, 3 committees were set up against me, 3. One led by the Vice President, one led by the Minister for Defense, and then EFCC, because of this project. And I will tell you today, Mr. President, why they were set up. And all of them were cabinet committees. The accusation was, this is Amaechi's contract. Mr. President, I don't do contract. But I want to tell you why they did it. Nigerians are not patriotic, most Nigerians, most elites. They were making billions of money in this security. So anybody who was fighting security, they will fight the person. And I was determined, sir. I was very determined. I'm surprised that the MD of Shell read his speech without saying that the oil companies met and promised me a gift if I can survive in this war. Yes, this war has sacked 2 ministers. 2 ministers, they were sacked because of this very war. They were taken to EFCC and they were sacked. This war, under President Obasanjo, they spent between 300 to 400 million euros to buy the same equipment we have bought, and they have disappeared. Until I leave office, until the day you sack me or I leave office, I will make sure that this equipment remains. Because Nigerians who do business in the water are not they are not good people. Those unpatriotic Nigerians, they are not good. But Mr. President, let me go back to my speech. Mr. President, when I assumed office as the Minister of Transportation in 2015, I carefully evaluated the transportation requirements of the country and the overall state of Nigerian economy and made a clear assessment that the development of the maritime sector was the future of the Nigerian economy in view of the worldwide decline in fossil fuel requirements due to climate change and the oil industry uncertainties created by the shale oil revolution in the United States of America. Climate change, also known as global warming, refers to the rise in average surface temperatures on Earth, occasioned primarily by the human use of fossil fuels. The reality of climate change precipitated a scramble for alternatives to the use of fossil fuels, and the frenzied research into renewable energy sources became the priority of developed nations, with immediate and future consequences for the oil-dependent Nigerian economy. Based on this set of facts, I developed an agenda to secure the channels of maritime trade, reduce shipping costs, and expand indigenous participation in the maritime sector in order to facilitate increase in the contribution of the sector to national revenue and the gross domestic product. To achieve this, the Ministry of Transportation developed a comprehensive integrated national security and waterways protection infrastructure framework, otherwise called the Deep Blue Project. As soon as this project was presented, all hell, and I mean all hell, was let loose. I was accused of all manner of things, from corruption to treason. But thanks to you, Mr. President, and Commander-in-Chief, President Buhari, who approved the project despite all attacks and numerous attempts to frustrate the project. And thank you, Mr. President. This project is not that of Amaechi, neither is it the Master's project. This is about Nigeria's ability to secure its future by exercising sovereignty over its territorial waters, protect maritime trade in the Gulf of Guinea, and position the country for the post-oil economy. Even if others don't understand, the Nigerian elite must understand and appreciate the idea of national interest. The contract for the Deep Blue project was signed on the 27th of July 2017 between the Federal Ministry of Transportation and Homeland Security International, as HLSI, with NIMASA as the discharge agency. The actual implementation of the contract commenced in early 2018 and today is fully completed and operationalized with the full support of the Ministry of Defense and all arms of the military. I'll come back to Ministry of Defense. Particularly the Nigerian Navy, a symbiotic relationship was carefully put together to ensure that whereas NIMASA retains ownership of the Deep Blue assets and determines operational needs in line with the International Maritime Organization Convention, the military takes charge of its operational deployment. The Deep Blue project comprises of 4 key components: the marine assets, the aerial assets, the land assets, and the Command and Control Communication Information Center, otherwise called C4I. Marine assets, this includes 2 special mission vessels and 17 interceptor boats. Aerial assets, this includes 2 special mission aircrafts, 3 helicopters, and 4 unmanned air vessels. Land assets, this includes 16 armored vehicles and 340 fully trained intervention teams drawn from the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The C4I, this is the Command and Control Communication Computer and Intelligence System, which provides coastal radar up to 300 nautical miles and external system integration with the Navy Falcon Eye, and the Lloyd's list, and was indeed the first of the assets to be operationalized and commissioned on the 16th of August 2019. These are huge, sensitive, and very expensive assets which must be run efficiently in a sustainable manner. The project management team shall work out a framework for administrative maintenance and operational sustainability of the project. The scope of the Deep Blue project covers Nigeria's exclusive economic zone, which is 0 to 200 nautical miles off the coast, but with approval given by Mr. President for NIMASA to take over operations of the secure anchorage area in Lagos from a private company called OMSL, a quick operational adjustment had to be made. I made it clear when I assumed office as Minister of Transportation that once you have a situation where an individual is offering protection to a country, that is clear evidence of failure of that system. I moved against it and we got it suspended through the office of the President, the contract of OMSL over the Lagos Port secure anchorage area. This time, something worse than hell was let loose. But we are resolute, and once again, Mr. President gave approval for NIMASA to take over the SAA. Some of the assets for the Deep Blue project designed for the EEZ were immediately deployed to SAA of Lagos, and the results are there for everyone to see. There is therefore the need to expand the project to cover the additional scope of the SAA of Lagos and possibly Bonny, with the launch and full deployment of the Deep Blue project assets and the passage of the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act 2019 by the National Assembly. Security of maritime trade in our territorial waters and the Gulf of Guinea are largely guaranteed. The unnecessary security costs borne by shipping companies running to millions of dollars annually has been finally removed. We shall now focus on the expansion of indigenous participation in the maritime trade. Your Excellency, permit me to request the Minister for Defense to kindly be upstanding, sir. With the Chief of Naval Staff and Chief of Air Staff, Please, can we be upstanding, sir? I want to thank you, sir. I want to thank all of you in the defense. Thank you that you are here today, and God will bless you. Thank you very much. Mr. President, with these investments, you have laid the foundation for a robust maritime sector and paved the way for a smooth transition to a post-oil economy. I am convinced that despite the difficulties being experienced in Nigeria today, history will be kind to you and your government. Thank you very much.